In this video, we're going to be looking at how to create different text transitions for a lyric video using After Effects, and additionally, we're going to be looking at how to create a gradient background that will be moving throughout the entire lyric video. So I made this lyric video a while back for my band. I'll put the link in description for the whole lyric video if you want to watch it. So I feel like that would be a proper example to show how a lyric video can actually be made, because I feel like there aren't enough resources on YouTube for you to go to when you're trying to look for text transitions for a lyric video. So if you're not looking for any complicated animation and want to stick to just simple text and a nice background, this is meant for you. So let's just jump into it. So first things first, we are gonna be looking at how to create a composition in After Effects for our lyric video. So we're gonna have a width of 1920 with 1080, and for the lyric video, I'm gonna have a frame rate of 30 frames per second. And since we're doing a small snippet of the lyric video, I'm just gonna keep it around 12 seconds for now. Hit OK. So let's get our song. I have my song over here. As you can see, I'll import that file and then I'll drag it to my layer over here, and then just to check, I'll see if it's working. Yeah, it's cool enough. So the next thing I want to do is I want to start with the background. The reason why I want to start with the background is because when it comes to a lyric video, I feel like your background should be attractive, because you're usually using text. If you're not going for animations and stuff, apart from text transitions, you should find other ways to attract your audience. So I feel like your background and stuff really matters when you're trying to make the video simple as possible to make. So let's jump into the layer section and then new and create a solid. The color of the solid doesn't matter right now because we are going to be changing it using fill. So once I have this solid, I'm actually going to be using 5 solids for creating one background because I want to have different gradients together. Now the technique to creating this gradient is a bit different because we are going to use a few effects on it. So the first thing we want to do is go to the pen tool over here, and then we want to mask the solid so that we can have 5 different layers. So I'll start from here. Make sure that your solid is selected, and then you select your pen tool, and then just go around, do your thing, and make your own artwork. So I will, for the sake of this right now, just create a one. It doesn't have to be accurate. You have all the time to play around with it. You can also play around with these points if you want to. So yeah. So this is the first one that I have. Once this is created, I'll be actually working on this first before jumping into the other ones. So I'll be going to the fill and get a fill color for this one. So for the first one, I'm gonna have a fill color. Select the color, and I'll FCCUFF. So this is the color that I'll be putting for the first one. Now, if you notice, if I want to have a gradient with 5 different solids, I need to make sure the edge is not sharp like this. So what I'll be doing is I'll be going to the masks, and over the masks, I'll be going to the feather options over here, and then I'm gonna make it 150. So once I make it 150, you can see that with the feather, it looks nice, so it can blend in with the other colors that we'll be having. After that, I'll be getting something else from the effects. It's called the turbulent displays. So this thing over here is important because we want to have a very like light animation going in the background, so it will be like moving around and stuff. So for that, I'll be setting my amount of to 50. I'll keep it as it is. Complexity to 1. It's fine. The key factor over here that we'll have is the evolution. So if you notice, when I use this knob to rotate it, and you can see that my layer is moving. So that's the animation I want to go along when I'm having my lyric video. So that's why what we're gonna do is we're going to simply come over here to the evolution and press Alt, press and hold Alt, and then click on this key stopwatch. And over here, we can see that we have something like this: effect turbulent displays and 6. So we're gonna change this time into 200. So once you're done with that, just click your left mouse button anywhere and then play it. So okay, I'll mute my song first. So as you can see right now, we have a nice motion going on, which is gonna go constantly, and we do not need to worry about it anymore. So once we are done with the first layer over here, we're gonna just duplicate and follow the same process. Since we have already applied the fill and turbulence displays, we do not really need to worry about it. So I'll be pressing Ctrl D to duplicate this layer, and once that is done, keep that in mind, it's a solid, so it's just gonna be the size of your artboard over here. So whatever you do, you just need to pull these points up. Do not pull these ones because it's not gonna be there forever. So coming back to this, we're just gonna play around with it for now, and to make sure that it doesn't take the whole space, we're gonna bring it down so that the other one is also visible. So after that, we're gonna change its color, and I'm gonna call it E3 E8 F2 E8 F2 E3 E8 F2. So it's kind of like that. So once I have this done, I'll try to play around with the wave a bit more because I don't want it to look the same. But yeah, so this process is really easy because you're just doing it once and then you're just playing around with the handles of the anchor points. So this is what we have. So it's a nice gradient that's going on over here. So if you try to play it now, you'll see that apart from that, we also have an animation going on. Just a sec. It's rendering for me.
6.5 hours later.
Alright, so once we are done achieving this background, what we're gonna do is we are going to actually make this have its own composition. So we're gonna pre-comp, select all the layers. First select this one and go all the way down. Make sure you're pressing and holding shift, and then right click, pre-compose. Make sure that you're moving all the attributes to new composition. I'll be calling it the background. So that's done. So once we have the background ready, I am planning to keep this variation of background, like with different variations, this background with different variations throughout this video. So it'll look nice, it'll attract people, and it also has a nice animation going on in the background. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the text transitions, which is the most important part. So considering the fact that you are not gonna use any kind of sophisticated animation, character rigging or stuff, you can just play it cool with texts, and it gives you really good results if your transitions are remarkable. So let's start playing with this. First of all, okay, I actually have the note over here of my lyrics that I'm gonna work on. So as you can see that these are the 4 lines that I have we're gonna be making this tutorial on. And if you notice that I have brackets over them, because I from my past video in the past, like those were separate like these, so I separated them so to make sure that okay, this is gonna be one animation, this is gonna be one animation. So yeah, you can also identify how you're gonna divide the words for the lyric video by listening to the song. And by listening, I do not really mean like going through the song over and over again, but listening through your composition and just like playing that part. So for an example, so it's saying I can't keep going on this way. So over here, I'll start with I can't, and then go to keep because there's a pause in between. See, so that's why I can't is gonna be together. So starting with that, I'm gonna make a text which is gonna be saying I can. Okay, so the font that I'm using for this is Montserrat. Sorry, I'm pronouncing it wrong. Montserrat. So over here we have the black typeface over here, so that it's fat. And apart from that, I'm also adding horizontal scale. So initially you'd have something like this, which looks very okay-ish. But for typography and stuff, like you know how the trend goes right now, it stretches and it's thick because I like my text thick when it comes to animation. So we're just gonna go with 130. After we're done with that, you can see that we have a text over here. And remember, it's really important to remember, I think the anchor point is going to be set up to the center. For this part of the job, you're going to set the anchor point to the bottom at the center. Why? Because we are going to have some motion going on with these texts, which is going to respect this as the pivot point. So let's get started with that. So it'll start possibly from here. I'll be actually aligning it to the center first, and then just use my left mouse and shift to go all the way over here. So once I am over here, make sure that your motion blur is on for the text, because it's gonna have movements and all, so it'll look nice with that. Once we have that done, what we're gonna do is we're going to make this 3D as well, because we are going to, the plan over here is to make the text rise from the bottom, like something like this. So that's why it's really important for us to turn the 3D option on. So after that, we'll be able to see all the axes and everything. So let's go to transform, and we are gonna be messing with the orientation for this. So at first, for the orientation, we're gonna take the text and make it look like it's lying on the ground. So around 270, I suppose it'll look fine. So let's start from there, and then let's listen to the music. So I wanna zoom in a bit to understand better that how long does it take for each of the words. So you could also do one more thing when you're playing this thing. So if you want to hear one specific segment of the song, you could do that by taking this and putting it somewhere, and then press and hold Control. So you see they're just playing that frame over here. So I can see that it's saying the word keep. So I can know that, okay, the word keep starts from this place. So let's go a bit back and check. So I technically have this duration, which I can use for the word I can't animation from starting to fading away. So let's play around with it. So remember, it's gonna be 15 frames. So from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it 0. Then after that's done, we're gonna select both the keyframes, go to keyframe assistant, easy ease. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the graph editor for this, make sure these are selected, so we can see the graph for this. And we are gonna play around with the curve. So what we're gonna do is we want the animation to be fast at first and then slow down. So that's why what we're gonna do is we're gonna push it to the left side, so that most of the velocity that is happening with it happens initially and gradually fades. So we have something like this. So that's very abrupt. I'll just start from here, guys. Okay, so maybe adjust it a little bit more because it looks too like it's a hard page. So yeah, that looks better in my opinion. So it rises like that, and then it will fade away at some point. So let's have a break first so that the viewers can watch the text, look at the text for a few frames, and then over here, so around maybe at this point, I'm gonna make the text fade away. So starting from here until 15, as we know, it's gonna start the new one. I'm gonna make it 0, and then we're just gonna have easy, as you do not really need to mess with the graph for this. So this is gonna look like something like this. Okay, so after this is done, the next text is going to appear from the right side. So we're just gonna, there are two ways you can add a new text and do that, but since it's gonna have pretty much the same stuff going on with it, I'll just duplicate this text, and then I'll just start this from this point. So in order for me to bring this layer over here, I'm just gonna press the third bracket or the square brackets, and you can see that it's gonna start from here now. And let's go a bit further to see where is our text, when is our text rising. So this is the one. All right, so since we're not messing with the position, we can technically just move around the text. So I'll move it over here. So the next line was keep, so I'll just add the word keep instead of can't now. Okay, cool. So once that is done, so I can keep. All right, so let's have a look at how it looks. All right, so I still feel like the rising is a bit fast. I'll just push it to 10 maybe. So let's see how it looks. Right, so this looks a bit better. So it's like 10 frames, I suppose. So I'm gonna go to transform over here as well. I'm gonna rank it to 20, and let's have a look. Right, that looks great. So after that is done, in the same way, we're gonna start this when it's about to, when the opacity is about to go down. So over here, we're gonna, the next text is gonna be going. So I'll just duplicate it again, and then use the square bracket to bring it all the way here with the, which is going to match the opacity of the keep where we're gonna start. Once it's here, now we know that it's gonna be in the center, so we're just gonna center align it. Okay, so we can distribute it to 3D layers like that. So I'll just have to, I think I'm moving the wrong one, my bad. So I'll just come over here. So I'll try to adjust it to the center as much as possible. Would it be possible? Let's check it out. What was it gonna be? Alright, so for the sake of it, let's have a look. Yeah, so after that it's aligned in the center, what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn off the title action save, and this is gonna say going. We're gonna change this word to going, and once that is done, we're gonna take a look at it. Where does going start? Okay, so it's starting. let's take a overall look at how it looks. Alright. So the next one would be going on this way. So the on this way is not gonna have any like 3D stuff going on, so we're not gonna make it rise from the ground. Instead, what we're gonna do is just have a simple text. So we're gonna deactivate the 3D enabled on it, and we're gonna call it when the opacity is about to go down for going. And over there, what we're gonna do is simply go a bit further and then call it on this way, and keep going on this way. So sure that's centered. Yeah. So on this way. So after we have it on this way like that, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make it appear with an opacity instead. So on this way is gonna come with an opacity. I'll just straight go to the opacity. So for shortcut, press T, go to your opacity, and we can see that there's something already going on with the opacity here, which I'm gonna delete. So the starting frame over here, we're gonna start from 0, and we're gonna make it 100 with the same time when going fades away completely. So let's see how it looks, and make sure you have the easy ease as well. Keep the system easy ease. So once that's done, let's see how it looks. Okay, so we can see that the on this way is starting a bit late, so it won't be following the same pattern as the other text. So we need to find where it's exactly starting. So okay, so we're gonna push it towards there, and I think it would be better. Okay, wait, let's check this out first. Okay, maybe a bit later, because on this way is quite a big word and it's getting a lot of screen time. So maybe around here. And then we are also going to push this there. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, this one's better. Alright, so once you're done with this, you'll be looking at something like this. Cool. So now, if you notice that what we're doing is we're just simply playing with the text and how it's rising and the opacity. Now, to make it a bit more interesting, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Layer, New, and a camera. Add a camera. Any like these are fine, 50mm and everything. These are fine. So press OK. So once that's done, make sure that your camera is on top of all the layers over here. So after that, what we're gonna do is technically you're gonna zoom in while it goes, so it'll look like that the camera is going towards and the texts are fading away from when it's coming near the screen. So that'll be an interesting part for it. So at first, you're not gonna start it right away. It's gonna be stable for like, let's say around 6 frames. We're gonna start it from here, and over here we're gonna start playing with the zoom over here. So let's say we're gonna start from zoom from 6 frame and then all the way until going on this way over here. Yeah, over here. So we don't wanna like go all the way there. We're just gonna stop somewhere when the on this way comes. Here's like this. Alright, so I guess we could stop here. I'll have the last one here. Alright, cool. So we're just gonna now play with this as well. So it's gonna be around, let's say, 20,000. So if you notice what's going on now, it's basically something. Wait, let's wait for it to render. Alright, so since we can see that the camera is now making these layers go off screen most of the time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to each of this and reduce their font size, or we can also mess with their scale. So we're here for the first one. I think first one is fine. The first one seems to be fine, but I'm not really happy with the speed, so I'll drag it over to payment here. It's a bit slow. So it's going away, and then the keep. We're gonna start this keep. From there, we're gonna change both the position and we're gonna reduce the text size. So look, something like this. Right, so I'll drag the keep a bit more to there because they're like spreading out. So that's why I'm gonna. Right, I can, and then keep, and then going starts from here. So the going, we need to increase its font size by a lot because it's taking the whole screen. About there. Yeah, as we can see that there is a problem with the alignment. So we are gonna turn the title action on again. See where it goes first, and then move it all the way to the position. So technically it looks something like this. Okay, so for on this way, since we can see that it's not moving, what we need to do is we also need to activate the 3D layer for it. So be sure that I'm gonna take the anchor point of it and move it to the center because we're not gonna play with the pivots for this. And make sure it's centered again because when we hit the 3D button, it's gonna grow. So what we want to do now is that we want to decrease the size. So I'll be doing it using the scale, not this. So use the scale option to achieve this. So let's have a look at how this looks. Okay, but I wanted to stop a bit early, I guess, the animation. I mean the movement of the camera, so I'm gonna end it towards here. Maybe around 20. Now let's see how it looks. Yeah, it's better. Okay, but the going, I feel like it still looks pretty big. So I'll just come here and then scale it down a bit more. Push it up. If you wanna look at this title, action save. So over here. After that is done, turn it off. Right, let's have a look at the whole thing now. Alright. So once we are done with the first part of our lyric video, I'll be jumping into the second one. If you guys remember, it had a different background color. So I won't be jumping into how I made the background color because I already showed you guys once. So you guys can just play around with different colors, but it's the same thing. I just copied the layers and made a new composition, and then I ended up getting other colors and ended up getting this. Okay, so it says I, so it starts from I wish you and I could stay. So we're gonna start from there now. So we have to keep in mind that the other layers that we had from before, we do not need it anymore. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut all of these, even the camera, everything. We're just gonna select and press Control and press Shift, and then we're just gonna say alter and then the square bracket. So we're gonna go one frame before where it's supposed to end and then say alter third bracket. Something very simple. Then the other work, it's just playing with the text. I'll just have first I and then call it here and then center align it. I'll just go with 300. Right, cool. So align it again. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna look for wish. So same way. So wish is starting from there. We're gonna copy the text from here and then duplicate it because we are gonna use the same one. And then we're gonna call it wish. Right. So now from here, I wish. Yeah, that looks good enough. But I am not really feeling the text size now. As I can see, the wish looks very big. I'm gonna scale these texts down to maybe around 80. Okay, cool. So the next word we're gonna add is you and I. It's you and I, right? Yeah, it's you and I. So as we can see that the text is still big, really big. It's taking the whole space. I'll actually take all of these layers and press S, scale it down to around maybe 60. Better. Yeah. Then we're gonna make it an outline. So when you make it an outline, it's gonna look something like this instead of having the fill color. What we need to do is we need to go to text, and then we have something called the source text. If you ever want to change something from the text itself, you can do it using the source text. So what I'll be doing is I'll stay like this for a while, and about there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna select this part of the text and give fill color. So if you notice, okay, we need to have another one over here, the keyframe. So over here, this keyframe is going to be so like that. So as you can see now, it basically shows the fill color when we wanted to show it. I'm trying to look at the word A. Okay, so maybe around here we can put it there. Start with this, and then we're gonna change it to fill color. So at the end is quite long, as you can see, but yeah, over here we can try to see how it looks. I'll increase the length of it. Yeah, so it looks better. Alright, so over here we're gonna make the text go away, and we're gonna call it could stay. I'll add 5 of these. So I'm gonna go back to my text, select this text, Control C, and then enter space. So 5. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty cool. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna also play around with this. How about 200? 200 looks fine. Alright, so now what we'll do is we're gonna align it to the center. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to its animation to the text, and then we're gonna see something called the animate over here, and it will have a button. So we're gonna click on that, and now what we're gonna mess around with is the line spacing. So the line spacing is the spacing between all of these lines. So let's click on it and see what we can do with it. So when we have it over here, as you can see that the line spacing is 0. Go all the way up, maybe around there. You can see it's saying 200, so 200 is fine for me. So I'll start from here and then go a bit to that side, and then I'll set it to 0 so that we can retain back the original position of the text. And then we're gonna select those, same thing, easy ease, and then we're gonna go to the graph. And for the speed, I want it to start fast and then slow down. Same technique. I'm gonna take the right point and just a moment. So just like that. So let's have a look at it. Make sure blur is on. This is how it'll look like. So it looks nice. The way the transition is going is because of the graph. It starts at a really fast pace and then slows down, decreasing motion. Pretty cool. Part of it, which is gonna be here and now, just like we're meant to be. For that, we're gonna have a different background, which I have already made. So let's try to figure out where it here starts. Okay, so it starts from here. What we're gonna do is, at this point, we're gonna take both of our the last background that we had, and then go one step back, and then hold alter, and then the square bracket. Same for the text, alter and bracket, third bracket. So we're gonna start the background from here. Let's activate it, and I'm gonna push it all the way to here. So I'll just use the third bracket. Get it all the way here, and now we're gonna be working on the lyrics. The first line will be here, and now turn it back to the solid, and then make sure the lyric starts from here, and then align it to the center. And then I'll actually reduce the size by a lot because it's just too big right now. Maybe around 100. Yeah, 100 seems fine. So for this part, I'm gonna align it to the center. As you can see, that the text here now looks like this. Okay, maybe a bit bigger. Yeah, that's better. All right, so here and now we're gonna take this text, and this part is important because we are going to have this position coming from somewhere else. Okay, so let's work with the position first. So it's gonna come from the bottom to the top. So I'll hit like P on my keyboard and then go to the position. So this is gonna be the last position point it's gonna travel to. So I'll drag it all the way to 20F, and then here we're gonna make sure the blur is on, and we're gonna take it down all the way here. If you notice that I'm stopping here, so that means like it's the total height of the text. So it takes that height and rises up. And over here we're gonna play around with the ease, go to the graph, and for this I guess I'll try this at first, see how it looks like. Let's see how it looks. Yeah. Okay, so for this, right now you can see that the text is coming from bottom to the top, but it's still visible. We do not want that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a rectangle make it any color because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So we're gonna have it. Okay, so make sure it's the same size as here and now. Try to keep it as the same height as possible. So like this would be fine. Okay, it's a bit lower. So something like that would be fine. And then I'll start it from here. And then I'm gonna fix its alignment. Alright, so then I'll be center aligning it. So one thing we need to know that we're not sure how long the texts are gonna be because it's gonna rely on this for this part. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to scale and then turn off the constraint portions, and then we're gonna increase the width to the whole screen size. So once that is done, the next trick is going to make it look better. It's basically toggling the switch mode, and here and now this is going to be an alpha matte for shape layer 1. So if you notice now, what will happen is the text is gonna rise and you won't be able to see it before because it was masked. So if you can see that, you can still, the text is a bit visible, so I'm gonna drag it a bit down and let's see how that looks. You can see that the scale is a bit problematic for me right now, so I'll also increase the height for it. And then, is this coming to the center? I guess it is. So, goes there. Okay, now that's all the way. You can see it a bit more over there. So what I'll do is reduce just like that. Perfect. So okay, so it's coming. You're in now. So just like starts from here. So it's gonna go back up and then have the other text coming from there. So what I'll do is I'll press Ctrl D to duplicate both of these layers because we need both of them. This one for the mask and this one for the text. So once we have it over there, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna simply mute the other two for now. And then when we have these, we know that it's gonna start from this point, and we're just gonna press Alt and square bracket again. So once we are here, we are gonna do the same alpha matte. As you can see, it's already alpha matte, but this layer is visible, so we're gonna toggle the eye off. And now you can see that here and now is back. So for this, okay, so I made a mistake. It's not supposed to be Alt tab, it's supposed to be just a third bracket because we want the animation and all to be there. So after we come back here, we're just gonna toggle the eye off, and then this text should pop up. Yeah. So this text is gonna be just like here. So just like here. Great. So it's gonna come from the bottom. You can see that the width is so a bit annoying for it. So the height, so I'll just reduce it a bit more. Okay, cool. So over here it should come back up. And also we need to make sure that when this text pops up here and now, we need to make sure it also goes away from the screen. So it should go away when this one's coming. So one way to do is by parenting the layers together. So we could try that, and then parent it with the here and now. So what we're gonna do is we are going to remove the position from this layer, delete it, and then we're gonna go to here and now. And from here we're gonna take this text to the top. So what we're gonna do is go to position, add a keyframe. Oh, sorry, I'm adding it to the wrong layer. So position, add a keyframe over here, and go around 10 frames. Make it throughout the screen. So at the same time, what I'll be doing is, just like I'm gonna take this parent whip and I'm gonna assign it to the here and now. So it should go up, but since I did it after the position, it won't work. So I'll just Control Z all the way back. Okay, so when we have the here and now text done, we want to move it as well with the just like we're. So what I'm gonna do is, at first we're gonna parent just like we're with here and now. Once that is done, we're gonna mess with the position of here and now. Click key, and then start with keyframe and go 10 frames maybe. And then we're gonna take this text all the way out like that. For this case, I'll have my title action on to see if it's actually aligning properly. So this should be fine. Alright, so we have something like this now. So let's take a look at it. So it's going too fast. Reduce the motion and then fix score. Okay, the curve is fine, I guess. Let's have a look at it now. Okay, so we can see that it's actually cropping from the top. This is fine. Okay, so just like here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring the meant to be text, but there's a way to do it. We're not gonna add another text for it. So instead of doing that, what we will do is, the next text is meant to be. So the meant to be, we're gonna go to our here and now text, and as we saw before, we're gonna play with the source text. Over here, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna add a keyframe before this, and then add another keyframe here, and then it's going to say something else, which is just like we're meant to be. And after that is done, what we will do is we're gonna bring it back down after we're done with this part. So let's look for meant to be. Okay, so it starts from here, so we can start the text to go down from here. I'll mess with the position again, and maybe around this part, just drag it. We're just gonna drag this layer like that. So voila, so you can see that it says meant to be now instead of the other text. And if we go back, so you can see here and now. So instead of adding another text, going through all the hassle of adding animation, we can achieve it like this. So let's take a look at how it looks. Okay, so it's going very, very fast. So we want to fix that a bit. So this, and I want to show it a bit later. So over here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a bit of what we call eye candy. I suppose I like calling it eye candy. So when you can hear the vocalist is kind of like emphasizing on the B here. So over here, what we can do is over the B, the E, we can basically extend the E. So in order for us to extend the E, what we're gonna do is we're gonna mess with the scale and position of the text E. So what we're gonna do is come here over here to here and now, and then what we're gonna do is go to the drop down, animate. So we're gonna get two things right now. We're gonna get the position and the scale. So the reason why we're doing it apart from the normal position and scale is because you'll know it why in a while. So we have both over here now. Cool. So do I want it to be for the same part? I don't think I want it to be for the same part. I'm going to delete this and then hide this one first. And then we're going to call animate and then scale. So it's going to have it another different, be under another different animator. So that's what we want. So if you notice, we have something called the range selector here, which we do not really get when we're messing with the normal position and the scale. So we're gonna take a look at this and see what it means. So over here you can see that our text starting from 0 and ending at 100. So that means that we have the whole text over here. So let's try to use this for stretching our scaling our text, the E, because it's being emphasizing on B. So over here we're gonna come to the range selector and start from here, and it's fine. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this constant proportions off, and then we're gonna try to increase the size. So if you notice that, you'll see that only the text E is moving, nothing else. Why? It's because of the range selector. We selected this E only. So that's why what we're gonna do is scale it back down, and we're gonna put a time keyframe to it and go a few keyframes after, and then stretch it. Maybe around 784 seems fine. So after that, ease it as we were, and then same flow, and then let's have a look at it. So it has to be done in a longer time frame, I suppose. Yeah, that looks better. So as you can see that we are only working with the E and it's overlapping with the other text characters. So for that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna move those other text positions here a bit, as with this. So what we're gonna do for this is gonna go to the animator one, and we're gonna select every text except for the E, because we don't want to move the E. So let's start it from there. It'll start from 0 and end at 86. And then for the position of it, you're gonna activate the keyframe, go all the way there, push this text to the back side, just like that. So this is how it's gonna look like. And after that, I'm gonna add a keyframe, easy ears in, and the same exact graph. So let's see how it looks. So it looks nice when it's like emphasizing on the B, the E extends, and as well as the other text moves to the other side. So after that is done, our last text would be the OO part. So let's have a listen to it. So it's gonna start from here. So as you can see that the OO is like a bit long, so we're gonna make it sound like that a bit, with the text a bit long, and with the sound, you know how it sounds like it's like a wave motion going out there. So anyway, so what we're gonna do is, at first I'm gonna stop all of these texts over here because we do not need them, and then we can add another animation to just take this text down, just like before. So we're gonna start with the position of the normal text, press B, and then add a keyframe, and then make it go away, just like that. So let's take a look at how it looks. So maybe a bit more, so I can have it grab out this long, maybe. That's how it looks. Yeah, so it's gonna go down and it's instantly gonna start the OO. So for that, what you're gonna do is you're gonna create another text and call it HH. So a long OO, and after that we're gonna crop it and then we're gonna center align it. So once that is done, we're gonna make it look a bit wavy with the ooh. So we're gonna use the turbulence display on this text, and as you can see, it looks already a bit wriggly and stuff. So how are we gonna work with this? Is basically we're gonna work on the amount and set it to like 39 and complexity to 1, and yeah, that will be fine. And then I will be working on the evolution as well because I want it to move as it comes along. So I'll be pressing Alt over the keyframe, and this time we're gonna add the time again as we did before. The time space this and then 15. So once that is done, you're gonna see that the text is moving, and then we want it to start actually with this here. My bad, I had the text actually right there, so yeah. It's gonna go down, and then they're gonna start this. So over here, I'm gonna bring my ooh text and start with the scaling from 0, and then push it to 100 when this completely goes away. So with that done, keyframe assistance, easy ease, and then have the same motion. Let's go all the way there. Let's have a look at it. Do I have the motion blur on? No, for that text no, so I'll just turn it on. Okay, it looks a bit weird. Work on that. I wanted to look a bit more wavy. I guess this looks better. So see how the motion is going, and then it will end over there as our song ends. So these things would help us with these transitions, are something that you can use all over the videos, come up with your own creative ideas and mix and match to get done with the whole lyric video. That's the whole point. So let's take a look at it for the last time as a whole. So let's play it. So this looks fantastic in my opinion, just that a few of the things like the text could be better aligned with the time when the vocalist is really saying those words. For an example, this part, I've noticed that it doesn't really look that good. So these could be enhanced, but you need time for it. So like play around with the alignments of these with the song, and the key is basically to use the press and hold control, and then listen to that part of the segment to understand where you should place the text exactly. So that's all for today. Hope you like this video. If you do, please like, share and subscribe. Tschüss.